Something that I want to talk about is the Cowboys running back room and where I think it's going to go this upcoming season. As of right now, I don't think the Cowboys have like a true number one running back on their roster, which, you know, is fine if you're doing the running back by committee thing. You want a bunch of running backs that are going to play a certain type of role. I also don't think that the running back who might be the most productive running back on this team is on this team right now. I think the Cowboys are eventually going to go out and trade for a guy. They have a lot of comp picks to play with, and there's going to be a few teams here that are going to have surplus at the position, and I think the Cowboys are going to take advantage, and I think they're going to go call a team and eventually trade for a running back. I think that's what's going to happen here. You know, it's a little different, right? Like when we talk about the defensive tackle position, there are guys that are still on the market that could benefit the Cowboys when it comes to playing, you know, one technique defensive tackle. There's a few guys that are still on the market there. Running back wise, if the Cowboys want to go get a guy that's going to be effective for them, like truly effective, they're probably going to have to go out and trade for a guy, which is completely fine. They have a surplus of draft picks in next year's draft. They can trade a compensatory fifth for a running back that, you know, is going to be on a team like the Jets, for example. Israel Abanikanda is a name that comes to mind. I'd be completely fine if the Cowboys went out and made that move. Also, he has juice as well, something that the Cowboys don't have in this room right now. So the guys that they have in this room are Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle, Royce Freeman, and Deuce Vaughn. Obviously, there's other guys like Nathaniel Pete and Snoop Connor as well. So, you know, not really anybody that at the current moment is proven to be a, you know, legit number one type of running back. And even if they were to go out and get Israel Abanikanda, I don't necessarily think that he's like a bona fide number one guy. A team that I would look at is the Miami Dolphins as well. You know, with Raheem Mostert, the guy can still play. They have A-Chain, they have Jalen Wright. So we'll see what happens from that standpoint. If they ultimately want to move on from Raheem Mostert, I'd be fine with bringing him on this team. I think that, you know, if you bring him in, no doubt about it, you would have a legit number one running back on your team. So, you know, there's a lot of ways that they can go with this. If they go with the Israel Abanikanda, like one of those type of guys, if they go that route, I'm fine with that as well. Because my thing is this, like, what is a number one running back? Is a number one running back a guy that's just good? Like, is that what people expect to be like a number one running back? Or is he like the guy who gets the most carries, but can also do different type of things for your offense as well? Like, I think Ezekiel Elliott in a running back by committee type of approach can be your number one running back, and you can have an effective running attack, because if you have multiple guys who play multiple roles, that like he could be effective in the role that he plays. Also, he's a guy who's good in pass protection as well. He can still catch the ball out of the backfield. He can be an effective receiver. I think he's better east to west than people want to give him credit for. Some of the tape that I saw, you know, I was impressed with some of his footwork, some of the bursts that he still has left. Like, is it the burst that he used to have? No, but he still has a little burst left. You know, he's still a guy that can get downhill. And, you know, if you want to be more physical with your running attack with, you know, the offensive line that you have with Martin, Beebe, and Smith on the interior, I think you could be that with Ezekiel Elliott as your number one guy. So, you know, am I like bullish on this running back room? No. Like, they need to go sign another guy, or they need to go trade for another guy. Honestly, they need to go the route of trading for another guy, because I just don't think you're going to be able to find an effective running back on the market right now. I mean, I guess there's Dalvin Cook, but are we sure that Dalvin Cook is anything of an asset to a running back room right now? I don't know if that's the case, right? But there are teams that have a surplus at this position, and I think the Cowboys can take advantage of some of the overstocked running back rooms in the NFL and go make a trade. I definitely expect that to be the case. I don't think they're going to walk into the season with this running back room. And like, when you look at the needs on this team, right, I think running back is definitely a need. And I think one technique defensive tackle is a need. Also, depth along the defensive line in general is a need as well. But if those are your needs, like, you're pretty good. Like, I'd rather have running back and one technique defensive tackle be my main needs than like edge rusher and cornerback and wide receiver. It's much harder to find, competent and capable guys at those positions than it is at running back and one technique defensive tackle. So, Honestly, the main thing, if the Cowboys want to have, I'm sorry, these allergies are killing me today. I don't know why they're killing me today more than they have recently, but that's besides the point. If they want to have an effective run game, it's going to come from scheme and blocking. That's where you're going to see the most improvement with this run game. Am I confident that the scheme's going to get better? I'm not confident because Mike McCarthy's never really been known as a guy who runs the ball efficiently. And I don't expect that to change this year. So, I think the scheme's going to be a lot of what you saw last year. And I don't see any adjusting from Mike McCarthy. I don't believe in Mike McCarthy as a head coach, at least as like a Super Bowl winning head coach. But that's besides the point. We can have a discussion about that another day. So, while getting better players at the running back position is going to help, ultimately it's going to be all for nothing if you don't see improvements within the scheme and you don't see improvements with the blocking, which I do expect that you're going to get better blocking this upcoming season. I think Zach Martin's going to be a little more healthy. I think that Cooper Beebe is a better point of attack blocker than Tyler Biadasz was last year. I think Steele will be better this upcoming year, 1 year removed from his ACL injury. So, and also the tight end position, Brevin Spanford, we'll see if he's a little better than Luke Schoonmaker was last year. And we'll see if Luke Schoonmaker was a little better than he was last year when it comes to point of attack blocking. So those are some things to consider when it talks about, when we talk about running back personnel and the guys they have in that room and just their run game as a whole.